Alaskans, wherever you are, welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show. Coming to you from somewhere in Alaska. This is the place where we talk about, you guessed it, Alaska. Where we keep the mainstream media on their toes and where we are standing up for what's right in a world run by leftists. You can find out more by heading over to mustreadalaska.com and also checking out the Must Read Alaska YouTube channel for some really great content. But first, let's get this party started.
Welcome, everybody, to the Must Read Alaska Show. I'm your host, John Quick, coming to you live from somewhere in Alaska. I hope everybody's having a phenomenal day today. It is raining here on the Kenai Peninsula, but it's much needed rain. My grass needed to get a little greener, so it's doing that as we speak. I hope everybody's had a great summer camping, hiking, doing all those things. Summer is kind of winding down for a lot of folks. Here, I think on the 15th, folks go back to school in Anchorage, and somewhere shortly thereafter, kids go back to school here on the Kenai Peninsula. If you listen, watch, or read Must Read Alaska and you want to help keep the lights on, just go to mustreadalaska.com. On the right-hand side, there's a little donate button. Every $5, $10, $100 helps keep the lights on here at Must Read Alaska. If you want to sponsor the #1 podcast in Alaska, just email me, John, John, at mustreadalaska.com. Love to have you sponsor the Must Read Alaska show. Today, we're doing our candidate forum spotlights, where we have anybody that's running for office all over Alaska, whether that's for local elections or state or federal. If you go to our Facebook page, Must Read Alaska's Facebook page, pinned to the top of that page is a post, and you can sign up for a candidate forum spotlight. It's 10 minutes or so, just short and quick. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat or libertarian or nonpartisan or everything in between. You can sign up for that. We've had all folks on from all walks of life, and we'd love to have you on the show. Or if you have a friend running for office, send them to that link and get them to sign up. Today, we have a special guest today who is running in my neck of the woods, John Hillyer. Welcome to the Must Read Alaska show.
Thank you, John, for having me.
So, John, tell me right out the gate who you are and what district you're running for and what office you're running for.
I'm John Hillyer. I live in Mackey Lake, which is a precinct in District 8, which is basically northern Kenai, stretching from Nikiski eastbound all the way to just north of Seward in the Bear Creek area, and everything pretty much north of the Sterling Highway. It does include Funny River as well. I am a 32-year veteran of the United States Air Force. I am married to my wife, Beth, who had a career as a television reporter. And we have 2 children, and like I mentioned, we live in Mackey Lake. The reason why I'm running is because I'm dissatisfied with the direction of the nation, the course and leadership that it's taking affects us, obviously, at the state and community level. In fact, I have written down a list of what I call threats. They're similar to grievances, 55 of those, which I list on my website, that has motivated me to run for office. Even though these are national level type decisions and actions, they permeate straight down through the state level, right down to our kitchen table. So they do affect us. There's 55 of these, like I mentioned, and I highlight the fact that it only took 27 grievances against King George III for us to justify a war of independence. So these motivate me to run. In addition to these 55 issues, there are very substantial problems facing us in the state of Alaska, primarily energy policy, budget, and education. So all these factors combined have motivated me to represent my District 8 in northern Kenai and run for the legislature.
Nice. So let's say, you run, you win, it's day one in office. What would some of your top priorities be if elected to office?
I've boiled down these 55 issues to 6 priorities. First and foremost, like I mentioned, I've spent 32 years supporting and defending our Constitution against our enemies. Now I'm turning my focus to our folks in District 8, my community. These constitutional rights, liberties, and freedoms need protection, and they're a constant threat. So in anything I do in the legislature, we will view all policy letters, white papers, certainly legislation and bills through the lens of our U.S. and state constitutions to make sure that we're protecting our rights, liberties, and freedoms. Because arguably, if we don't have these fundamental rights, then really all other issues are arguably moot. Right behind defending our rights, liberties, and freedoms, energy has to be our next priority. With a more permissive executive establishment coming in 2025, we need to posture Alaska to reinvigorate our natural resource production. There is no excuse why Alaska cannot help lead the nation in a resurgence of energy production. If you read the Republican platform, it's going to rely on energy production to help stimulate our economy and help bolster our national security. And with our resources, as a state constitutionalist describe in our Constitution, Alaska has a role in not only providing for our own energy needs, but it also will assist the United States in the resurgence of our national security and economy. This will bring jobs to Alaska, hundreds of jobs. This will help stifle inflation and help our economy. So energy production and solving our Alaska energy needs, i.e. the most prominent one facing us right now, the Cook Inlet gas situation, will be resolved with this. Now, it will take time to reinvigorate energy production. So in the meantime, we have to address our state budget, which is in a crisis situation. Initially, I thought the state budget just simply needed more intelligent spending. There currently is no measures of performance or measures of merit associated with past, present, or future spending. The legislature spends in the crisis mode. The governor really doesn't have a realistic budget. He, by Constitution, is forecasted to plan out a 10-year budget. It is unrealistic past 3 years. But diving into the issue deeper, it is clear we do not have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. There's an insatiable appetite for spending. As a result, our government is growing, despite the fact that we have outmigration of folks from Alaska, i.e. less people to provide services for. Our government is increasing its spending. So budget reforms are an absolute necessity. In the 2020-21 fiscal policy working group that the legislature put together, there are 10 solutions right off the shelf that they can implement to help remedy our budget. At current spending rates, the statutory budget reserve will disappear in 2 years. The constitutional budget reserve will disappear in 3 years. And PFD allocations will probably disappear in 3 to 4. That is what our budget is facing unless we implement reforms. And like I mentioned, there's off the shelf 10 solutions of spending reforms that can be implemented immediately. The last legislature did none of them. These include a spending cap, some modifications to the constitutional budget reserve, and equally important, constitutionalizing the PFD. Okay, getting that off the plate of the legislature and putting it into statute or into the Constitution for the PFD payment. These reforms need to be implemented. In addition to that, there's some oil tax revenue reform that we can do to help bolster our revenue as well. So priority 3, budget resolution. Right behind that, our government has disassociated itself with the private sector. That they built the government as the leading economic engine. It can't do that. The private sector has to be a solution. They need to do corporate tax reform to stimulate small business to help bring our economy back. Of course, we're going to need national level, executive level change in fiscal policy in order to stifle inflation. But we can do our own to help manage the corporate tax and other incentives to help stimulate small businesses. But most importantly, the government's got to get out of the business of regulating small business and has to bring the private sector back into its outlook. Right now, they're disassociated with the private sector. Finally, education. We need to implement, and once again, we don't have a revenue problem with education. We have a spending problem. We need to institute the charter school concept. Our test grades remain one of the lowest in the nation. However, our charter schools are doing well. We need to empower our parents. We need to get them involved. Under a charter school construct, they're going to take charge of policy. They're going to take charge of school budget. They're going to take charge of school curriculum. We empower the parents to get involved and run their schools as if they were the school board. And this is going to allow for funding targeted to the student. The money will follow the student, and this will ensure that the policy, curriculum, and budget that the parents so desire is spent and applied accordingly. We should also get rid of borders. Any parent should have the privilege to send their children to any school they want. And finally, as far as education goes, correspondence schools need to be fully funded and integrated into the full education package options for all parents. And the final priority would be our livelihood. To a man or woman that I meet when I talk about our issues, they just want to return to our American way of life. They want to return to our Alaskan way of life. This is patriotism, family, law and order, and community, faith. All of our American values, these traditional American values, are at risk with critical race theory, diversity, equity, inclusion, gender confusion, and the like. I would do everything possible to eliminate those threats from schools and the local community and return to our traditional values. So those are the 6 priorities I would implement.
Nice. Well, if somebody is going to listen to this and they're going to want to figure out how to get in touch with you, tell us all those details, website, Facebook. Are you on Facebook? How can somebody get in touch with your campaign?
I do have a website. It's www.johnhillyer4alaska.com. Hillyer's Hillyer, and 4 is FOR. So the website again, www.johnhillyer4alaska.com, or call me personally on my cell phone, 907-513-7123.
Awesome. Well, John, 15 minutes here has gone by in a flash. I really appreciate you joining us here on the Must Read Alaska show. Welcome back anytime. For folks that listen, watch, and read Must Read Alaska, you want to help keep the lights on, just go to mustreadalaska.com. On the right-hand side, there's a little donate button. Every $5, $10, $100 helps keep the lights on here at Must Read Alaska. And if you are running for office or your friend's running for office, we'd love to feature you here on the Must Read Alaska. So just go to our Facebook page. Pinned to the top of that Facebook page is a link that'll take you to a place where you can sign up to be a guest here on the Must Read Alaska show if you're running for any office around the state of Alaska. And again, you don't have to be a Republican, Democrat, everything in between. You feel free to sign up. So we hope everybody has a phenomenal rest of their day. Until next time, I'm John Quick from somewhere in Alaska. Thanks, John, for joining us.